is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with finishing up our league for Temur Reclamation. This is a league we started the other night. As a friendly reminder, if you like modern Magic the Gathering content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and giving us a follow here over on Twitch at MTG_Nexus. So, this is a list I do believe that Corey Baumeister used to top 8 a recent Modern Challenge. This is Wilderness Reclamation, Uro basically control. You're basically setting up either Wilderness Reclamation or Uro, along with things like Growth Spiral, to get you into a quick Factor Fiction, Cryptic Command, preferably as soon as turn 3. The ideal draw is to go Growth Spiral on 2, Wilderness Rec on 3, and then either Factor Fiction or Cryptic Command mana up from there. Beyond that, you are a prototypical Uro control deck at this point. You're playing Uro and Field of the Dead as your primary win cons, and then you're rounding it out with other pieces of interaction, whether you choose to be the 4-color Uro deck that's using Path and Bolt along with Mana Leaks and Cryptic Commands, or you're running Fatal Pushes, Blood Chief's Thirst, etc. out of the Sultai list, Abrupt Decay, along with Force of Negation and Archmage's Charm, or this one that's obviously using Bolt, and then using Remand in place of Mana Leak. This version is a little bit interesting in that it's not trying to strain its mana as much with something like Archmage's Charm, so it's opting for a 3rd copy of Force of Negation, which a lot of these versions are running only like 2 of, and then 4 copies of Remand as opposed to something like Mana Leak, and then pairing it with Growth Spiral to get you your land count quickly. There are a lot of utility lands in this deck. You have one of Blast Zone, one of Castle Vantress, one of Field of Ruin, obviously Field of the Dead, a Lonely Sandbar, and then obviously a couple Mystic Sanctuaries. Don't leave home without them if you're playing this type of archetype. And then, your prototypical Ketria Triome, one or two of each duel, and then basics and snow basics to be able to trigger Field of the Dead. And then a one of Nexus of Fate to kind of get, once you get your library down low, this allows you to close out the game a little bit quicker. Some versions, I played against 4-color Uro the other night. It was the first match of our league. They were using multiple copies of Time Warp, which is effectively doing the same thing as Nexus of Fate with Wilderness Rec, just allowing you to take a couple turns and closing the game out fairly quickly. So beyond that, Uro piles. What this deck's trying to do. It's a little bit more of an instant speed interaction deck with Wilderness Reclamation as opposed to some of the other ones that are a little bit more tap out, especially the 4-color Uro Omnath version. But like I said, they're all kind of execute a very similar game plan, although some would argue that this and the Sultai version are a little bit closer to a traditional control deck than something like 4-color Uro, which is almost a mid-range deck with what it's trying to execute. Sideboard, whole bunch of 1-ofs here. 2nd copy of Field of Ruin for any type of mirror match, or pretty good against the Tron decks. 1 copy of Ceremonious Rejection, which is good against Tron, good against Belcher. A bunch of random different things. Ceremonious Rejection is decent against Eldrazi Tron, etc. if that happens to pop up. 1 copy of Soul Guide Lantern for any type of graveyard shenanigans. 1 copy of Veil of Summer for mirror matches, pretty much. Also decent against discard decks like Shadow and Rakdos. 3 copies of Ether Gust because a bunch of red decks are a thing. Whether it be Prowess, whether it be Red-Black Shadow, whether it be some of the mirror, you might consider bringing some in some of the mirror matches to snag Uros and such. 1 copy of Abrade, a nice card to have, allows you an out to Chalice, blowing up Ether Vials, and then just being a removal spell in general. Also hits Belcher if they can't go off in 1 turn. 1 copy of Cleansing Fire, much like Field of Ruin, kind of hits the Tron matchups, and also gives you a little bit of utility in the field matchups. 2 copies of Fire Spout for any type of creature shenanigans, whether it be tribal decks, burn, prowess, etc. 1 copy of Ashiok, kind of a nice card to have against Amulet, nice card to have against the mirror match, etc. Mystical Dispute, much like Veil of Summer, pretty good in the mirror match. Shark Typhoon is another instant speed threat a lot of the times, and then Engineered Explosives is another pseudo sweeper against decks like Shadow and such. So that said, let's get into some matches and finish up this league. Currently 1-1. We started out against 4-color Uro with Time Walks in their deck, which we lost, and then we beat Death and Taxes, or Mono White Death and Taxes, in quite an interesting 3-game set. So, still learning this deck a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Sure, upon good luck here. So, as far as the 3 versions, I honestly think a lot of it comes down to what you want to be doing with your deck. Obviously, you can play a Sultai version of Reclamation or just a more traditional Sultai version. I think a lot of it just becomes down to what do you want your removal spells to do. Like Push and Blood Chief's Thirst are pretty good against the Shadow versions, but they're a little bit weak against some of the other shenanigans. I think this kind of highlights like the issues with this style of deck. You know, the mana base can just be a total total train wreck. Like I need to draw another land to have Renin 6 online. I still think I keep this hand, but you know, it is a hand that's worth looking at possibly throwing back because you can't really cast Renin 6. So we're up against most likely Shadow or Jund based on this opening. Maybe Rakdos. Most likely Rakdos. So I gotta be paying attention here to how we fetch. I think I'm still gonna get the Triome. I gotta be careful about not tapping out here. Well, even the 3-color mana bases in the Field of the Dead decks can certainly be a weak point. Oh, we're up against Goblins. Wow. I'm gonna just remand this for now. That's the stuff. Archmage's Charm or Growth Spiral, depending on what they do. Do I even care about Matron here? I think I just let this resolve, let them get Ringleader or whatever they're trying to get. That's a terrible start for Goblins. I think it's Snoop Doggy Dog. Put a Growth Spiral in here. Maybe we'll hit a green source and Growth Spiral again. Oop. Alright. So unfortunately, I can't both Renin 6 and do the thing here, but I think I just pass here. Just take the 1 from Matron. Yeah, that's fine. An Aether Vial on top. Snagging the Snoop's a little bit more difficult. I think we have to charm this, which kind of sucks. I just can't allow them to have 2 Snoops in play. Just sets them up for the combo, so too much for the interaction that we have. So now we're in a bit of a rough spot because we don't really have any interaction right now. I mean, I could like Ren and 6, gun down their stupid thing. Ren and 6 get back a fetch land. I think it was a mistake maybe to play the castle. Maybe I was supposed to wait to get a fetch land and then being able to grow Spiral. Yeah, I think it was a slight mistake on my part to grab the, or to play the Vantress without thinking my turn through. Aether Vial's fine. Okay. Sure. Question is, what are we sanctuarying back? I guess Archmage's Charm for now. I'm just yielding through the turn. Cranko. I think that definitely deserves a Archmage's Charm. I feel like as long as we don't get backdoored by the combo, that we're probably winning this game. I think we just Factor Fiction main phase, or do I blow up the vial? I think I go ahead and blow up the vial. so they have a 1-drop, sure. Nope, just faking me out. Kiki-jiki. Yeah, no. Be interesting to see how my opponent stacks this. We obviously don't know. We already have a remand in hand. Start to pressure our opponent here. We already have remand for their Kiki-jiki, which is fine. In the game with some bolts. Alright, so goblins. Apologize for the coughing. Fire spout seems decent. Engineer explosive seems okay in some spots. Braid seems decent. Ether gusts seem pretty reasonable against most of their threats. What's up, Blitz? How you doing this morning? Typhoon doesn't make much sense. Ashiok, if we could control the board more, would be fine. Ejection only really hits Vile. Veil of Summer, I mean, they might bring in discard, but whatever. I think we board out the Force of Negations. It hits Vile, and don't get me wrong, Vile is a very important card. And some number of remands, possibly. Remand's just kind of a very card in this matchup. Looking at the rest of the deck, could board out a Cryptic Command. I think it's just the remands out on the draw. Like, how does that leave us with about the same amount of interaction on the low end? Basically the gust replacing the remands. Not sure if this is correct, but it seems the most prudent thing to do on the draw. Most of the Wilderness Wreck versions play at least one Nexus. That's usually the interaction you'll see. Like some of the field decks, or some of the blue field decks, have picked up Time Warp. I suppose. I've actually been playing quite a bit of blue decks lately. Just, I don't know, trying something different. Kind of like streaming this time of day and just trying something different. I don't think we can keep this hand against goblins. This just doesn't have any early interaction, so it feels like we could just die. So I think this is a mulligan. This hand isn't much better, but I still think it's fine. Probably put back a breeding pool. Keep Bolt and Uro. Hope that's enough to keep us alive. Everyone kept a really slow hand last game, so it was kind of... We were supposed to bring in the second field, but most counter spells are going to be pretty bad in this matchup anyway, so... Speaking of which, can I draw a second Cryptic Command? Yeah, I completely forgot about Cavern, but I still think counter spells are pretty miserable in this matchup anyway. Opponent with nothing. Opponent could potentially have Blood Moon in their deck, but I still think I'm going to try them here. Just their mana is so all over the place, I don't think they can necessarily afford to play it. Not going to bluff a counter spell I don't have. I mean, obviously I could have Ether Gust here, and I'm giving a little bit of information away. But Bolt's really my only interaction in hand. Needing to take 2 additional damage when chip shotting is definitely their main way of winning this matchup. Yep. Yep, I just got done saying how they could have Blood Moon, but I didn't respect it. I deserve that. I mean, I guess I should have kept playing... to see what was in their deck post-board. Do I have to leave a couple of Force of Negations in just to avoid that nonsense? Because they could also have Boil, I suppose. Force of Negation is such a terrible card against the all-creature deck, though. Huh. Morning, War Dog. Really don't think I need Nexus of Fate in this matchup. Just feels like such a feel-bad card. Alright. Let's respect the Blood Moon that may not even be in their deck anymore. This hand's really light on lands, and the basic mountain's really awkward. I do have Ether Gust and Fire Spout, though. Guess we keep it. This hand feels really borderline, though. Like, it's got a lot of interaction, at least. Thoughtseize or Vile? Thoughtseize. Relic of Progenitus, sure. Didn't really want to pop the relic here, but probably take Ether Gust or Fire Spout. Keep the 2-land or get punished. Their hand's really clunky. Blood Moon again? Nope. Nope. Snoop Doggy Dog. Well, that's going to require me to Fire Spout it right away. Because they can just Harbinger, go get Kiki Jiki, copy Harbinger, go grab whichever version. This feels really bad to do. Basically need to draw Boulder Ether Gust off the top or we're dead. Oh, they're just grabbing Ringleader? Okay. Well, I mean, we drew Bolt, which I guess is something. Yep, Ringleader hits them. Sling Gang Lieutenant. Let me just pass here. That basic mountain being really awkward for our hand. Okay, we know they have Sling Gang Lieutenant. Which effectively turns any of their goblins into a lot of problems. Probably just fetch, what, Basic Island here? How do we flip that many cards and not see a land? That's kind of crazy. Alright, so how do we prioritize this? Fact or fiction I don't particularly care about because we already have another one in hand. Bolt's greater than. I mean, I guess our best option is I don't even know. Come on, land off the top, please. Alright, that allows us to Uro plus stuff. Hopefully they don't have munitions expert in their hand. If they do, we're basically dead with this line. Gotta get basic forests here. Just Uro. Leave fire spout in the graveyard for potential stuff down the line with so dumb that we have this many cards and don't even have pitching here. Growth spiral probably. At least we have Blood Moon covered. That's like the most important thing right now. Well, not the most important thing, but one, two. Yep, a lot of attack. Opponent could be baiting us here. So I'd love to draw a fire spout or Mystic Sanctuary. So I screwed up with my delving. I should have left fetch land in the graveyard for Renin 6. We only have one red source, which is mildly annoying. I'm just going to use this to kill the 2/1. Try to minimize our chances of dying as much as possible. I don't particularly care if an N6 dies, especially since we have the second one in our hand. Alright, sure. Another Sling Gang in hand. Okay. Nothing we can do about that. Hey, Basic Land Shark, thanks for the raid. How'd your stream go? Let's see. I'm trying to figure this out here. So, if we kill Harbinger and can somehow double bolt them, they're dead. Problem is we only have one red source right now. So what's more likely to happen? That I need... Tron Walker, thanks for the follow. I need both these bolts to close out the game this turn, but I don't think I can do that. Just the fact that that Harbinger is a black card's kind of annoying, so I think I take this pile. Well, thanks. Didn't even know you followed my content, honestly. And then I draw the red source that I would have needed anyway. That's kind of obnoxious. So, how many islands do I have? I have 3 islands. So I can Mystic Sanctuary, back bolt, ping down... ping down Boggart, attack with Uro, Mystic Sanctuary, back bolt, draw bolt with Growth Spiral. Thanks for the follow, Basic Land Shark. So I think we start, pin this down, attack for 6. Actually, I don't even have to. Mystic Sanctuary, back bolt. And then I can play the Stomping Ground is my other red source. Bolt their face. Bolt their face. And got there, despite navigating that early game very, very, very poorly. So basically I started Game 2, I got Blood Moon. I was talking about how I wasn't respecting Blood Moon even though they could possibly have it. They slammed it. And then Game 3, I kept a 2-lander, which included Basic Mountain. And then kind of had to hope to survive long enough to draw out of my land screw, and kind of did. So that was a close one. These hands are really, really terrible feeling with this deck. I feel like this is a mulligan. This hand's even worse somehow. Alright, I can at least work with this hand. Keep. Let's say I can at least work with this hand. Probably fetch Triome depending on what our opponent's playing. Yeah, I can't either, War Dog. That was a pretty garbage game. Hopefully I don't get paired against another mirror match. Alright, double bolt's kind of whatever. Unless our opponent's on like a shadow deck, I don't think it's going to end up being relevant. But it feels like a blue mirror. Yep, we're up against Sultai. This hand's crap against Sultai. Especially on a mull to 5. I guess my life total isn't particularly relevant against Sultai, so we're just going to go with the go through the turn, because time is probably the most precious commodity in the mirror match. I mean, at least on a positive note, if we continue to draw lands, we have our Field of the Dead. Not going to fetch, because I want to continue to draw lands, actually. I guess I'm not supposed to bluff anything here. Like, bluffing might get me somewhere, but it just isn't going to right now. I mean, continue to draw lands, but I didn't specifically want to draw a second Field of the Dead. Mirror matches are generally the matches I perform worst in with an archetype I'm not familiar with. And obviously, those of you that know my content at all know I'm not particularly a blue mage, so I tend to struggle in mirror matches unless I really know a deck. Could slam Jace here. Oh, there's getting back Cryptic Command. Or Archmage's Charm, I guess. Yep, slamming Jace. See what they do with the Jace. Opponent could be like getting a Force of Negation here, but I don't really care about wasting 2 bolts on a Jace. Once again, our life total is not particularly relevant in mirror match. It is, but most of the time when you win a mirror match, it's kind of by... One, two, three, four, five, six. I hate to play the Sanctuary because I really don't want to get a bolt back. No, I don't want a bolt back. Wonder if an opponent is thinking about Cryptic Commanding. Go ahead. As you were. I don't think we can jam Uro right now, so I'm just going to pass. Especially since we know our opponent has Archmage's Charm. There's no reason to play Mystic Sanctuary because it doesn't trigger field, and I really don't want to get back a bolt. That, and it might incentivize our opponent to play another Thoughtseize if they think we have a good card in hand here. Cryptic Command, bounce a Goblin, sure. Aura Promise? Oh, bring back Uro. Okay. Oh, should have fetched a different. Need to fetch a different land there. They just let Uro happen. That's interesting. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a bit from the crypt. I appreciate that. Probably because I changed my Twitter handle a bit ago. I think we just pass here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Drawing the Mystic Sanctuary, second Mystic Sanctuary is so awkward. But yeah, definitely needed to fetch a non-breeding pool hand. With the second Thought Seize, which is extremely annoying. So probably get countered. Alright, for the mirror match, probably want Field of Ruin, Veil, that, Cleansing Wildfire probably, Mystical Dispute, Ashiok, Typhoon, probably EE, though it only really clears out Uro and zombies. Bolts are kind of pathetic in this matchup. Uro is kind of suspect somewhat. Cryptic Command can be a little awkward. Their deck is chock full of answers to Uro, so because they have pushes, they can potentially even push. They have access to Abrupt Decay, plus they also have probably Graveyard Hate they're bringing in, so Uro is kind of in this kind of a matchup. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good to have some amount of Uros, but I don't know that you want to be jamming too many of them. Do I just jam? I didn't play a blues red source, so it doesn't matter. There is some consideration to just jamming run in 6 there. But without any fetch lands really to grab, it's kind of whatever, because they could have easily have Force of Negation. I think we'll wait another turn until we can back it up with a Remand. Could also have Abrupt Decay here, so. Nothing. Interesting. Again, no reason to jam Wilderness Wreck, tap us out. Feel the Dead's a problem, / annoying. Not going to get any better for us. Hopefully they only have one counter spell here. They have negation, I guess. Worst thing they could resolve here would be Jace. Anything else I probably don't care about unless they're playing 5-mana Ashiok. Looks like this is just a Jace. Which, don't get me wrong, Jace is really bad for us. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we can kind of answer Jace, but it's like really bad for us. Because we can just trigger Blast Zone, but it's just like our opponent's seen an additional, what, 5 or 6 cards, and we're losing a land to do it. Burrows, whatever. Yeah, if our opponent goes for Uro here, we're in like a pickle because we have no good answer to Uro in our deck other than Ether Gusts. I don't even think I brought in. Oop. Yep. Our opponent decided not to jam Uro there. Not going to show them engineered explosives. I guess kind of a risk with them having Thoughtseize in their deck. They're probably just bringing back Uro here would be my guess. Which is a fight we're not winning because they have Cryptic Command in hand. just allowed that to happen. I'm kind of surprised. Could play Mystic Sanctuary, but I don't think there's anything we actually want a Sanctuary back right now. Really don't want another Remand. Just take a hit for 6 here. No, our opponent has an Uro. Basically taps us out of blue. Don't have enough for Force of Negation, so maybe let's just play Sanctuary for that reason. Does Reclamation even matter here? Charm back on top. Honestly, they should just let this go, but they're probably going to fight over it. Not that we're in a particular position to fight over it ourselves. Ether Gust. Yep. Definitely bottoming that. Don't think we can afford to go to 1, but it also sucks to hold down. Oh, they were holding a fetch land in their hand. Okay, fair enough. Opponent knows they have all the cards, literally and figuratively. I think we have to fight over this Cryptic Command. Yep. I mean, I guess... Okay, well that's about as good as scrying, I guess, in some regards. Alright, and we're dead. So... The one obvious thing there was game number 1, I needed to fetch something besides a breeding pool. I'm not sure, even if we got a couple of zombies there, that we would have stayed in that game anyway. Mulliganing to 5, you know, a matchup like this is pretty bad. And then this game, maybe I should be more aggressive, like with scrying with Castle Vantris instead of trying to fight with the limited resources that I did have over our opponent, obviously having superior card advantage. Maybe I was supposed to be looking for a Field of the Dead, something along those lines. Doesn't really look like we were drawing anything relevant here. So I wanted to finish the league this morning, but we have a washer and dryer coming at some point today, and I need to help with getting that in and out, so I'm going to have to call the stream short. I'm going to be trying to stream from 9 to 11 Eastern for a couple of days, see how that goes. Trying something a little bit different. It was something I wanted to get into last year, but some stuff came up, and I ended up continuing on the late nights like I'd been doing. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I'm going to send you guys over to Spike as he's doing modern content, I believe, right now. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out, and hopefully to see you back in the next stream. And thanks to Basic Land Shark for the raid, and everybody catching this over on YouTube later. Greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe over there, and hope everybody has a great day.